What's up, Flavor Fiends? This is Jace with Black Raven Pit and Purpose, and this week we're doing apple pie and talking about the nonprofit Angels Among Us that help with financial and emotional support for pediatric cancer patients and their families. Well, let's go ahead and go to the prep. This one's kind of a long one, so be prepared, but hoping it'll turn out all right in the end. All right, so the first step is to talk about our apples. I have 3 Granny Smith and 3 Honeycrisp apples. From what I found on the internet recipe, this is looking like it's the best combination here. So first I want to skin all of them and slice them up, and then we'll move on to the next step here. Now that I got all my apples cut, I already took all our ingredients for the filling and put them in the Ziploc bag just to make it a little easier. In here is, and again, look up your own recipe for this kind of stuff, but there's brown sugar, white sugar, nutmeg, some cinnamon, a little bit of cornstarch to kind of thicken things up a little bit, and some various other things. Lemon juice and bourbon are probably the 2 things that I was the most surprised about, but we're gonna go ahead and take all of our apple slices and throw them in there. All right, and then I'm gonna close this up. Just kind of move it around. Open her up, just to kind of double check here. Those are pretty well covered. Just gonna show you what I'm looking for here. So we got a pretty even spread all over. Just gonna seal this back up. Put these to the side. I want to leave those out for about 20-30 minutes. Honestly, I don't think the time really matters as long as you hit at least 20-30 minutes. Just to let all those flavors kind of soak into the apple. Next, we're going to worry about our pie crust. So I just bought some pie crust from Walmart. The bad side is that I bought a 10-inch pan, but they gave me 9-inch pie crust instead of what I asked for. So we're going to make the best out of it, just kind of make it work. Now, from what I read on the internet, it's not that big a deal if it kind of breaks up a little bit. You can always patch it. But we're going to try and spread this out a little bit more, so maybe it'll fit into this pan a little easier. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. Oh yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this up in one piece and get it in there flat. Now, for those of you who those of you who watched my last YouTube video, you probably saw the part about my grandmother dying. Because of losing all my memories, I don't have many memories of her, but I do remember making a pie one time, and she specifically said that it doesn't matter how it fits in there, as long as it's, nice and smooth against the edges. If it gets if you have to fold it in a little bit to make it work, it's whatever. Does not matter. Okay, so we got that ready. Now let's go ahead and get our top ready. All right, now I'm just gonna kind of cut some slits. Just try and be as even as I can here. Pull out these tiny pieces because I don't think I'll need that one or this one. Let's put those to the side for now. And then after about 20 more minutes, we'll be ready to pour in our filling into the bottom of our pie here, and we'll kind of go from there. Kind of redistribute them a little bit here. And we'll do more. Okay, looks like that's all of them. A little taste for me. Oh yeah, those are coming out so good. All right, so again, I'm gonna kind of just redistribute these a little bit, kind of make it more flat. Kind of stuff those sides there. My goal is just to kind of, even though it's weird to say, but my goal is to remove as much air from inside as possible, but you know, looking at it and actually doing it, that's obviously impossible. But that's okay. It's a trial and error thing, right? Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we got them all nice and even. I'm going to start taking my strips that I've cut earlier and start laying them across. Now I am no mad scientist when it comes to this stuff, so I'm just going to do this nice and easy here. Now the benefit of having the open top is it allows more of the smoky flavor to come in from our smoker, so that'll definitely come in handy later. Looks like I probably need a shorter one here. And I got some extra ones left, so might as well. Let's do some across. I should mention that as I'm laying these down, I'm actually pressing the ends into the dough on the bottom, just to kind of help seal them, but we'll go through and kind of clean that up here in a minute. And last one. Okay. That looks pretty good. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is actually take the edge here and kind of roll it and crimp it along the side here. So I'm going to try and do this as close to the camera as I can here so you all can see. So again, I'm just going to tuck that, kind of roll it. All right, and then crimp. And that'll help kind of hold it in place. So again, just kind of roll, crimp, roll, and crimp. And it'll get easier as you go. At least that's what I'm learning as I do it. It really kind of just seems like as long as you get some pressure on it, it'll hold together real well for you. Now you might have some bits that are just overhanging way too much. I'm just going to go ahead and peel that off. Okay, it's not perfect, but that should do her. And next I'm just going to kind of pat this down a little bit, kind of get some of this dough as forced down as I can here, to kind of help it all stick together. And then lastly, I'm just going to take some melted butter here and just kind of brush the entire top. My hopes is that this will give us a nice golden brown color by the time we're done smoking it. Bit of the outside. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Not bad for my first one in probably 10 years. All right, next we'll just go to putting it on the smoker. All right, we got our pie ready, so we're gonna go ahead and get it thrown in here. Now there's two different methods that you can go about baking a pie. First method that I'm doing is starting at 350 degrees on my smoker. Now this will be a total cooking time of 1.5 hours. And after about 45 minutes, I'm actually going to spin the pie about 180 degrees. Now the other method, if you want a more smoky flavor in your pie, is you're going to set your smoker for 300 degrees. And after about 1 hour, you're going to spin it about halfway around. I will say that before we get this going in here, if you do happen to notice that your crust is getting a little too brown for your liking, you can kind of do a light foil tint over it, and that should help prevent it from kind of being overcooked or anything like that. I'm just going to throw mine in and kind of see what happens. All right, now that we got the pie in, let's go ahead and talk about Angels Among Us. I was lucky enough to find a short YouTube video about them that kind of fully explains their mission and what they do. So let's go ahead and check that out.
We had doctor's appointments 4 times a week, and then we were up every other day for PT and OT. We had to completely stop and change our lives. We didn't know what to do.
When he started losing his hair, it became super real. It was coming out in clumps, and it came out so quickly that we had to just shave it off just because it was, it was coming out so quickly. He cried, and then we cried. It was a whole thing.
He had 4 rounds of very aggressive chemotherapy. We lived at Children's from March until July.
As everyone knows, life's gotten more expensive, and for the families we serve, that's no different. No one can plan for a pediatric cancer diagnosis, and so oftentimes when a child's diagnosed, there's a job loss involved, and then you add on regular monthly expenses like groceries and rent and utilities, and it can snowball from there. And so our family's needs have really grown, just like everyone else's. They're just more vulnerable.
Angels Among Us came like right when we were at the bottom of the barrel, just trying to figure out what the future was going to be and how we were going to manage and what we were going to do. It was a very spiraling feeling. And I remember distinctly opening that letter and seeing that we had gotten this grant and crying because it was like the first good news that I had had in I don't even know how long. And it felt like everything's going to be okay.
I don't know where we would be without you guys. You guys have this changed our whole life, and I cannot express how thankful I am for you guys. Thank you so much.
So when Crew got diagnosed, I had to stop working immediately. He was only 5 months old, and then my husband only worked part-time. We lived at Children's with him. So knowing that they paid a portion of our mortgage was a good feeling. He was already battling. It would have been another battle for us to have to worry about finances and not keeping our house. Like, you already have the emotional toll of your child being sick. You want to be able to bring him home.
Yeah. So you can focus on what really matters, and not worrying about a house bill or electricity or anything like that. You can kind of focus on your little one.
The financial stress kind of lifted off of us so that we could just focus on him. It was really helpful and really impactful for our family. That wasn't a stressor for us, which means it wasn't a stressor for him. And so then he could just focus on getting better, and he didn't know any different.
Our emotional support programming has grown a lot over the last several years. When we started our first year, we had 570 touch points with families that year. We've grown to over 700 touch points currently with families. So it's been a great way to interact with families and give them that sense of community.
The great thing about Angel Among Us, it's all kids related. They include everybody. It's not just the cancer child. So I was able to bring my boys with us to everything. Like when we went horseback riding, the boys were allowed. When we did hot cocoa and hayrack rides, the boys were allowed to be able to start a new experience with Reagan.
He's just a tough little boy. And even though he was so young, he doesn't remember, but he still has the checkups and, the anxiety of getting finger pokes and getting his heart checked. But he does it, and he gets through it. And he's just wild.
I'm Sue, and I'm a warrior.
If I met a kid like the same age as me that was diagnosed with cancer, I would tell them,
stay strong and you can do it.
Jaden has been the most inspirational person I've ever met in my life. One of my favorite stories of Jaden is when he went in and had his amputation. And I was going back to see him for the first time, me and his dad. And I put my head on the little railing next to his hospital bed, and I am sobbing. And all of a sudden I see his hand, and he's doing this with his hand. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's awake. So I grab his hand, and he brings it up to his mouth, and he kissed the back of my hand. And he goes, just look at it this way. I'm cancer-free, and it's over. I'm so proud of him.
Angels Among Us over the last 19 years has helped over 800 families with expenses. Now, if you total that up, that's roughly $5.5 million. Please go to the website below, find out ways that you can donate to help, and let's help this nonprofit out as best as we can. Our pie is just about ready to come out, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right. That turned out perfect. Just the right amount of brown, crust is nice and crispy. Now we just have to set it down and let it cool for about 20 minutes, and we'll be able to slice into it. Alright, so we got a little bit of black right around here, but not enough to really worry about. This should be pretty good by the time it's cool. Alright, it's been 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and cut this guy open, see what we're working with here. Oh yeah, that crust is crispy. That's my alarm, excuse me. Tell me that the pie is officially cool enough to eat. Alright, it's gonna come apart in pieces it looks like, so we'll just kind of do our best. Yep. Want the innards, give me the innards. Alright, so didn't really hold solid, but let's go ahead and see how it tastes. Oh man. That might be my new favorite thing that I've ever made. Oh my God, that is delicious. For those that may ask, I did not use any fruit wood, such as like apple, cherry, or anything like that. I use hickory for pretty much everything. Worked out perfectly. Added a splash of vanilla into here before I kind of put the whole pie together. This turned out amazing. I would definitely make this again. All right, so I can't bake, but I can definitely smoke some desserts. Holy crap, that's awesome. All right, well, thanks for watching. Be sure and check out Angels Among Us. Again, their website is below. And, oh man, we're gonna have to do some more desserts in the future. Thanks again for watching.